Ladies and gentlemen, please let me present this contribution on extensive roof greenery and climate change on behalf of my colleague Holečka and my humble self. The aims of the contribution is to briefly introduce pros and cons and design aspects of roofs with the vegetated coverings, explain some myth related to extensive vegetated roofs on a case study, problematic details of extensive vegetated roofs, and some conclusions. The extensive roof greenery is one of the ways to reduce the extent and impact of urban heat islands. The prerequisite is the correct design and operation of both the structural and vegetation part of the roof. If adequate maintenance, especially irrigation of greenery, cannot be ensured, the use of extensive roof greenery can also be counterproductive. The case study to be presented deals with problems of a flat roof with extensive greenery above an underground garage under Central European climate conditions. At present time, marked by the climate change crisis, there is a large social pressure to build green roofs. However, if it is not possible to ensure their perfect functionality, it is perhaps better to use classic proven types of roofs, but with greater reflectivity of the top layer surface. This slide shows the main pros and cons of construction aspects of flat roofs, of roofs generally with roof greenery. I would like to pick up that it serves as a fire prevention provided that the greenery is wet, and that it reduces the load on the sewerage network and the flood risk. On the other side, it poses an increased load on statics of the building, including aerodynamic stability. This is an extreme failure of flat roof caused by heavy rains and improperly distributed substrate plus wrong structural estimation. In the meantime, this building is one of the safest in the country. This slide shows the ecological aspects of pros and cons of the roof greenery, where I would like to stress that it reduces dust in environment, produces oxygen, reduces carbon dioxide, and reduces temperature fluctuations. On the other side, it's quite costly, both the assembly and the maintenance. This slide shows a typical composition of a flat roof with greenery split into garden and construction design. We basically distinguish biotop, intensive, semi-intensive, and extensive vegetation, which differ in the thickness of substrate layer. The extensive vegetation has about 3 to 20 centimeters substrate. Intensive is somewhere about 30 up to 50 centimeters. The semi-intensive vegetation is somewhere in between. Biotop greening is more or less spontaneous and emulates more or less the free nature. You can find it, for example, in wine growing areas in the form of underground wine cellars or within old fortresses and the like. The roofs are generally divided into flat roofs up to 10 degrees, sloping roofs from 10 to 45, and steep roofs above 45 degrees, usually up to 50 in our country. This case study was inspired by a view from a window of France where the green roof of the underground garage was completely dry in the summer. The aim of the study was to find out what are the temperatures of different surfaces of a green roof. Furthermore, we wanted to know the correlation between the temperatures of these surfaces and their estimated reflectivity. Measurements using Voltkraft infrared thermometer were performed on a green roof above an underground garage during peak summer. The reflectivity of individual materials was estimated on the basis of information from the literature. The measurements depict clearly the lowest temperatures indoors, followed by outdoor air temperatures. As is obvious visible from measurements, the temperatures on substrate, or better said dry lawn, were the highest, followed by the temperatures measured on concrete tiles and light gravel. These results show the influence of colors of materials on surface temperatures. The flat roof had the highest surface temperature measured on substrate or lawn, which is quite opposite of the desired state. The roof also shows several commonly known design mistakes, such as non-existing strip of gravel layer around ventilation shaft from the garage, which reduces fire resistance, or incorrect anchoring of handrail to construction. In this case, the vertical wall terminating the roof should be higher and the railing anchored to the side. Missing is also a protective gravel strip in the close proximity to the vertical wall, protecting the band of the waterproofing, particularly against growth of the roots and subsequent damage. In climatic conditions of Central Europe with 4 seasons of the same length approximately, with cold winters and relatively warm and often dry summers, are plants in artificial conditions for which the vegetation of the roof can be considered subject to some extreme temperature variations. Even though extensive vegetated roofs are considered and promoted in Central Europe as maintenance and irrigation free, they both need a year-round maintenance and regular irrigation during summer months. At present time, marked by the climate change crisis, there is a large social pressure to build green roofs. However, if it is not possible to ensure their perfect functionality, it is perhaps better to use classic proven types of roofs, but with greater reflectivity of the top layer surface. When creating details, special attention must be paid to fire safety, protection against the growth of roots, and the selection of suitable plants, not simply some kind of succulents. The design of green roofing is a complex matter. This requires highly professional attitude and strong cooperation between architect and planner on one side and garden designer on the other side. Even though there is not too much standardization and legislation regarding the roof vegetation, the recommendations of specialized professional associations should be kept. Thank you for your attention and wish all the best for all participants of the conference. Thank you again and goodbye.